Hello there, this is NaughtPlusZero with a short tutorial on punch and roll recording. Now, you might be wondering, what is punch and roll recording? Well, punch and roll recording is a special way of recording audio that allows you to quickly correct defects in your recording without having to start the whole section over again from the beginning. Uh, You'll see a little bit more of what I mean here in a second. Now, I will be demonstrating how to set up punch and roll recording here in Adobe Audition, which is my preferred audio software of choice. However, the same principles will apply to you if you use something like Audacity, for example. Please be sure to consult the manual for your audio software in order to understand how to configure it. I will also not be going into the fine points of tuning the settings for punch and roll because these are likely to move around from version to version of your recording software. With all of that out of the way, let's start by recording a test sentence, and then I'm going to show you how to make adjustments to it, shall we? The morning dawned gently on the glade, dew dusting the flowers and grass like fallen jewels and shimmering in the scattered light that filtered through the leaves high above. For once the morning birds were hushed, the woods still and quiet, with only the faint rustle of the breeze and the small crawling things of the earth to break the silence. Now, I'm going to go and play that back, and actually this works pretty well because, let's see how we sound, shall we? The morning dawned gently on the glade, dew dusting the flowers and grass like fallen jewels and shimmering in the scattered light that filtered through the leaves high above. For once the morning birds were hushed. The woods. Now, part of the reason, dear listeners, that there's this somewhat unusual gap here in the way that I recorded that part of the line is because, well, as I'm recording, somebody else popped into the VC and it has a little sound effect that I forgot existed, which distracted me for just a moment. Now, the nice thing is this will be perfect for the purposes of punch and roll recording. So for me, usually I'm in instant record mode, and it's very easy. You just push the button and it starts recording. Now, I'm going to turn on punch and roll mode. See the little icon changes? Now, I move my playhead to the point where I want to start making corrections. In this case, the line is, "For once the morning birds were hushed." And what you'll hear happen is the audio here on the left will actually start playing. I will be simultaneously reading along with the line, and we will overwrite everything past this marker. And here we go. That light filtered through the leaves high above. For once the morning birds were hushed, the woods still and quiet, with only the faint rustle of the breeze and the small crawling things of the earth to break the silence. Now you'll notice something I want to illustrate here. In Adobe Audition, I actually have a separate clip that is stacked on top of the first. In other editing software, it may actually cut the previous recording right where it sits. Let's give it a quick listen, shall we? In the scattered light that filtered through the leaves high above. For once the morning birds were hushed, the woods still and quiet, with only the faint rustle of the breeze and the small crawling things of the earth to break the silence. Crawling things of the earth to break the silence. Now you'll notice, towards the end, things start to fall out of sync. And that's one of the nice things about punch and roll recording that I don't think is often illustrated in the tutorials. you can simply cut the clip a little bit to fit exactly where you want it to be. So, part of the previous recording is actually quite good. Let's see here. With only the faint rustle of the... So I just need to make sure that with only the faint rustle is about where I want to cut it off here. So let's see. Previous bit is the wood still and quiet. With only the faint rustle of the breeze. Okay, so this little section of audio seems to overlap that one there. So let's go and get that here. The wood still and quiet. Now I'm going to go ahead and introduce a slice here. I'm going to split the clip. This gives me a chunk. Let me kind of illustrate that maybe a little better, just because it might be a little hard to see. What's a good way to do it? Oh, I'll show you. So I'm going to split or slice the clip that's currently highlighted right under this line. I do that by right-clicking the clip and clicking split. Now it's like I've cut the film strip. Cool, right? Now we're going to drag this to bring them together. The wood still and quiet, with only the faint rustle of the breeze. Pretty good. Now, for a little added improvement, we could do a bit of crossfading, just to ensure that there are no anomalies in the background noise. Let's give it a quick listen, shall we? Quiet, with only the faint rustle of the breeze. And if I wanted to bring them closer together, of course I could do this. Still and quiet, with only the faint rustle of the breeze. Now, listening to the whole thing in totality, the morning dawned gently on the glade, dew dusting the flowers and grass like fallen jewels, and shimmering in the scattered light that filtered through the leaves high above. For once the morning birds were hushed, the wood still and quiet, with only the faint rustle of the breeze, and the small crawling things of the earth to break the silence. See how that sounds pretty well matched. As long as you use punch and roll recording within the same recording session, the noise prints should be roughly the same, meaning your audio will sound roughly the same. You do want to be careful about using punch and roll recording later on, when your audio calibration settings and background noise may be different, because it tends to change the sound that you have. Now, in this very short example, we might have just wanted to retake the entire line because it's very short. Oftentimes, punch and roll recording is used when, say, you've recorded an hour full of audio and are needing to quickly patch in a few missed words or correct a few small errors. Let's say, let's listen here. Filtered through the leaves high above. For once the morning birds were hushed. So, one of the nice things that we could do is, for example, we could splice in lines as well. So it's not just a matter of correcting things, but let's say I wanted to, and I hope I didn't cut this too badly, make space, and then punch and roll. I'm going to try to improvise something really quick. Again, make sure punch and roll mode is selected. And see here, I'm telling it, pick up the recording right from this point. Okay, let's give it a go. Scattered light that filtered through the leaves high above and down below. So let's see how it sounds. The leaves high above, and down. Oops, I messed up the timing there. Let's try that again. Simply undo and repeat. Scattered light that filtered through the leaves high above and down below. There, that looks a little bit better. It's high above and down below. See how the nice thing here is that it even kind of patches together the little end of above Whereas if I just did a hard cut, you might hear the V sound getting clipped a little early. Now I can also bring this back here, and we have a very natural sounding cut through the leaves high above and down below. For once the morning birds were hushed, the wood still and quiet, with only the faint rustle of the breeze, and the small crawling things of the earth to break the silence. And that, my friends, is why punch and roll recording is such a useful trick. Now, you do have other options aside from punch and roll, so don't feel pressure to use it. Quite often, I do not. For a while, there are times where I was using punch and roll recording, but quite often I personally find that it's easier just to retake entire lines with instant record, as long as I remember exactly where the mistakes are. You'll find punch and roll recording to be most useful if you are recording long segments, as in audiobooks, or if you want to really nitpick some very good takes and just have small little adjustments that you wish you had done better. Those are the perfect times to invoke punch and roll recording. That's PUNCH and ROLL. Punch and roll recording. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a short tutorial video by NaughtPlusZero.